Hi all. Okay, now in this one we'll go over number 4. Number 4 is how to use a template with a class. It's the same idea. We have a couple variables and we don't know what's coming. Type 1 here, type 1 here, type 2 here, type 2 here. We don't know what to use in our function here or our function here. Okay, so here in main we create our object. We use my class and we create the object, sending it an integer and a float. But here we're telling it, hey, the first one's going to be an int, the second one is going to be a float. But you can see when we set the class up itself, see, normally you'll see this like that. We don't know what's coming down here. So when we create the object here, the object handle is going to be my object. The first type 1 is going to be an int. Type 2 will be a float. So type 1 becomes int. Type 2 becomes float. This becomes an int. This becomes an int. So 10 comes into here. 10 is stored here. 10.1 here. So 10.1 here, 10.1 here, 10.1 comes into here. And then we have 10 plus 10.1, and it's going to print out the total. Let's run this and see what it does. We're in the template 4 folder, so we'll compile it. And then we'll run it. And we get 20.1. The 20.1 is printed out here. So it's just adding these two numbers together. So the whole idea is when we create our class, we don't know what variable types are coming. Ints, floats, strings. So it's more or less left blank here. Use the word class and you can name these anything you want. Type 1, type 2. I just named them type so it would make it a little easier to understand how things are flowing around. We're getting the data type. When we create the object, we're telling it what it has to be here. That this first variable is going to be an int. The second variable is going to be a float. So this line creates the object. When we call my class, it says here, the first one's going to be an int, the second one's going to be a float. That's this. We're sending an int and we're sending a float. So it comes up here, it says, okay, I don't know what's coming yet, but it created me, and int's coming into here, so this one's going to be an int. A float is coming in here, so this is going to be a float. So type 1 is int, so we have int 10. Type 2 is going to be float, got 10.1. 10.1. This is the constructor, my class sets up the variables, int a, float b, so 10 comes into here, 10 comes into here, and then we just store it under I. Float comes into here, 10.1 comes into here, 10.1 comes into here, and store it in J. 10.1. Then this is where we do the actual function call. So we say on my object, call my function, call this function. Set total to 0, add I and J together, store the total here, and then print the total out here. And when it does this cout, that's when it prints 20.1. So we got 10 plus 10.1. So it prints 20.1. Okay, so that's about as simple as I can make it. The next one I think will help make a little bit more sense, because only creating one object here may not make any sense to you. So the next one will create a different object with different types, so then it should make sense. Okay, see ya. Bye.